the Discuss Metal podcast with DJ Sacrifice and Lance Garvin of Living Sacrifice. Hosted by Dan Terry and Steven Sarro of Unteachers. Presented by discussmetal.com.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Discuss Metal podcast. My name is Dan. I'm your host for this evening. And with me tonight is Steven Sarro. You guys know him. He's been on tons of episodes of Discography Discussion. He's here to co-host this chat tonight with me. And we also have one DJ Sacrifice and one Lance Garvin. How are you guys doing tonight?
Good. How are you, man?
Doing good.
Doing pretty well.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, for sure.
Hello.
This is a ton of fun. And, you know, one of the first things that I think is interesting that we have to bring up is kind of how me and DJ kind of, we haven't met in person, but how we ended up talking was, so on my other podcast, Discography Discussion, we discuss bands. We'll pick a band's album. We'll pick a band. We'll listen to all their records in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, unless we already know what their records are. And then we'll have like an hour and a half, 2 hour discussion on all of their records one by one. And I remember when we were doing our Living Sacrifice episode, we had some pretty hot takes on some of the older, like the pre-reborn Living Sacrifice material. And I'll just be like straight honest. We were like super critical of DJ's vocals on the Non-Existent record. And didn't really think anything of it because at that time I was like, nobody listens to this podcast. It's not a big deal. So then like 2 days later, one of my co-hosts sends me a text. He's like, hey, do you want to answer that message that we got from DJ that's sitting in our inbox? And I hadn't even read the message yet. And I was like, oh, yeah. So I like slowly got my phone out and was like looking at it. I was like, oh my God, I hope he's not mad. Like, but no, he was not mad. As a matter of fact, he was very, very personable and very like, dude, your opinion's your opinion, you know, like whatever, like the show. And he's, we've kind of been in contact ever since. It's just my strangest way of meeting somebody, that I've encountered doing this show so far.
Has Steve Rowe ever called you yet?
No, Steve Rowe hasn't called me yet. No. Waiting for that phone call.
Yeah. I'm just joking.
But we're gonna get into all that tonight. But
and Steve, I do know him.
You do?
Oh, you know Steve Rowe?
And Lance does too.
Give him my number.
I do? No. No.
I do.
Let's get him on tonight.
Well, I think he's in Australia, right? So like that would be it'd be like what, the middle of the day for him?
Yeah.
Right now. But you know what I want to kind of get into as far as the earlier stuff, and I don't care who answers first. But what got you guys into like heavy music before you played? What got you guys into music as fans first?
Man, for me it was Kiss. It was just the shock and the fire and the, I don't know, just it was so much fun to watch and such a, adrenaline rush to see those guys up there just going crazy and breaking guitars. And I was probably, it was before kindergarten because I had a lunchbox and I would take it to my grandmother's house. And she hated that lunchbox because she would tell me how demonic and from Satan they are, and I was just like, wow, I don't care, it just looks cool, like. Yeah. But I don't know, it was just it was that and Black Sabbath. Like I would hear stuff like that, like from relatives and not really any friends because none of my friends like that stuff until I met DJ. So, go ahead, DJ.
Yeah, that was its same introduction. It was an older cousin that his dad owned a music store, and he got like all the Ted Nugent and Kiss albums pre-advanced, and we were able to listen to him and go to concerts. That's how it got started with me. And he was the guy that had a band, at like what, Lance, like when he was like 15 years old, he had a drum set down there in the basement, and we'd go watch him play with his band. And it was just awesome that's how it got, I was like, we could do this too, kind of a deal.
Yeah. Was it like first grade, second grade or something that we met, DJ?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And we just,
Yes.
we just stuck to one another because of our interest in extreme, like rock and roll at that time. We thought it was pretty extreme. I guess it was
Yeah.
for then. So yeah, we definitely stuck together. We found a few others along the way.
What was your first concert for like metal music?
Metal.
I mean,
Mine was
anything like that.
Black Sabbath.
Real? Seriously? Wow.
It was a Born Again tour that I
Born
missed.
Again tour.
That's crazy. I saw them on the farewell tour.
Yeah.
Who was singing for Black Sabbath then?
Oh my gosh, what's his name?
Terry Martin was it, or
No, he didn't sing for him very long. Gosh.
Or Tony
Oh my
Martin?
gosh.
I mean, Dio and
Ian Gillan.
Yes.
who was it?
Okay,
Is it Ian? Is that what you said?
yeah, Ian.
They had more than 3 vocalists.
Gillum or something? Yeah.
I'm just gonna look it up.
Ian Gillan.
But yeah, that's super cool to get to see something like that. Now, did they play old stuff, or did they only just play? I'm asking you to remember a concert that's from like a million years ago.
No, it was kind of significant because the Friday night beforehand, I saw Hank Williams Jr. in the same venue.
Wow.
And the next night I went with my cousin and saw Black Sabbath. The first one I went with my dad, and then I went with my cousin to see Black Sabbath. So that weekend I was like, oh yeah, I definitely want to be around music and concerts, and this is awesome. So
Yeah, and I was so mad that I missed that. We were out of town, but DJ got me a shirt. It was like the coolest, evilest shirt I could wear at school. It had a baby like Satan, like devil thing on it. It said
Yeah.
born again. Man, I wore that probably like 3 or 4 days a week to school. Like I would just hide it and I'd put it on, after I'd take my clean shirt off and I'd put that one back on, before I went to school.
Did you have to hide
Yeah,
it? I had to
love that.
hide my shirts when I was a kid. Like my mom would just throw them out when she was washing them. If she saw something like that, she'd just throw it in the garbage, and then I would just never see it again.
Dude, my mom just didn't want me wearing it because it was dirty and it smelled.
Right.
Like, dude, she did not care. Like, she did not care. Our parents, like, they were just like, yeah,
It was
whatever.
It was like inchworming across the floor.
Yeah.
yeah, our parents didn't care like what music we were listening to, or we didn't grow up in the church, so it was a free for all.
I see.
Like we
We were Christian kids growing up, so I was like at Petra shows when you were doing that.
But I bet they were good, though.
No, they were. I have a real appreciation for my upbringing music. In fact, my experience, my Kiss experience was Stryper.
Okay.
I saw Stryper in '85. I didn't go to the concert. I saw them on TV in '85, but it was when they were on. I think they were on like a Dove Awards or some kind of award show, and like Soldiers Under Command was just coming out. And my mom called me down from my playing with toys and said, "Look at this band!" And they had all the stripes going everywhere. And I mean, probably pales in comparison to Gene Simmons' Bloody Tongue or something. But when you're 1985, I'll be 43. So however old, I was probably like, gosh, I was definitely under teenage. So that was kind of mind blowing at the time for me. But
Stryper was awesome, like, because we weren't Christians, but I remember when that came out, I think DJ were like, dude, check this band out. And they throw Bibles
soldiers,
and they can actually play their stuff, and so man, we'd go to they came through Little Rock and we went to see them, and we were blown away. We didn't care. We did not care whether what you were talking about, just as long as you like put on a great show. like I said, that's what got me into rock and roll anyway. It's just, I think I saw a special of Kiss on TV. I think it was like on around Thanksgiving or something. I saw Ace Frehley, and he's doing his guitar solo, and it's like on fire. Like his pickups are on fire. Yeah. He sets it down. I was just like, I want to be that dude. Like I became a drummer, but yeah, I definitely want to be Ace Frehley.
That's their marketing has been genius.
Oh, you can play guitar.
But yeah, dude. Like with Stryper they were awesome, dude. Like Oz Fox and Michael Sweet, like the notes that they hit. I mean, with their voice and with their guitar, it was amazing. All of them was awesome.
I started out as a drummer, and that was the thing because of the kit. It was just so massive, and it was kind of surrounding him. That was for me. It was like I've never seen anything like that. It looks like a cage, So that was. Yeah. I can relate to the Kiss stuff in that way, like just seeing some visually crazy thing with this loud music that I think Amy Grant, Petra, Whiteheart, those were the, Mylon Lefebvre, stuff like that was what I had at the time. So that was probably my first extreme, if you want to call it extreme.
Yeah, no, that's a good one, man. Yeah, you had a good one. You had a good introduction to like. Because they were awesome.
I found my way to Sepultura and all that other stuff.
Yeah, you did.
Came out a different way.
So at what point did you guys feel like, okay, I'm really, really into this stuff. I want to do it. Like, I want to do it myself. Like, I want to do it for real, what's the turning point there for, a lot of people can trace it back to a singular moment. I know not everybody can. But there's usually a moment where everybody will say, like, this is whenever I was like, yep, nope, I'm committed to it now, and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do my best to make it happen.
Well, as far as Living Sacrifice goes, when we saw my cousin's band Scream, they were like a thrash band, like kind of a local Slayer type band, and once we saw them play live and like saw the energy and like we were like, that's it, that's what we've got to do. And I knew I had the drummer already lined up, Lance, ready to go. So it was no problem just getting Living Sacrifice off the ground. But
for me, it was I've always wanted to do. I mean, since I had that Kiss lunchbox going to my grandmother's house, like I always wanted to play on stage. It wasn't like I didn't think it was. I didn't think we'd make any money at it, and we really didn't. But that wasn't the point. that was just we just wanted to play metal and rock and roll, and whatever we had to do. And there was like I said, there was never a thought that I was going to make a living at it. And, we eventually kind of did that for a little while, but that was a plus.
Sure.
I don't know, but yeah, when DJ and I guess from that point on, like first, second grade, we were like, hey, we're going to start a band whenever we can get like instruments. I mean, we didn't know how to play anything.
Sure. We
didn't know how to play any instruments, but we're like, well, yeah, we're going to start a band. And, it wasn't just, and our parents kind of, yeah, that's cute, but we were serious. We wanted to do it. And I don't know, it just kind of worked out, I guess.
So whenever you guys first got together, had basically the bones of Living Sacrifice kind of assembled. Was it always your intention to start a band? DJ's telling me he wasn't raised in a religious household. Was it always kind of the intent of the band to be like a metal band with Christian lyrics, or was that just something that came later? Or
yeah, definitely. I mean, it came later for sure because we just wanted to start a band, and then I guess we met Bruce in 7th grade maybe, and 7th. Yeah, and he like, I don't know, he got a guitar or something. We're like, yeah, we could jam sometime. And like, there was like a lot of guys that we did like go in the garage with, and on every other weekend, like we had different guys, different friends playing. But Bruce and DJ, you guys actually started going to church. Someone started talking to them about God, and I'm not sure how I don't know where I was at that point. I was kind of somewhere else, but I came around, and I guess it was around 9th grade, 10th grade that we definitely decided that we wanted to do something positive with music, with metal.
Yeah.
DJ.
I hounded Lance to come to church with me so we could he'd go to youth group.
So, you guys started the band, and obviously, the concept of a metal band with Christian lyrics was not a new concept by any means. We've talked about Striper and Petra and, all that stuff. But what I think was really interesting about Living Sacrifice was that you guys definitely were in the extreme metal category. Cause I remember all the Christian hair bands, and all of that stuff. And then you started getting some cool stuff like Vengeance and like Mortification and stuff and Deliverance. But you guys were the band that, for lack of a better way to describe it, were the only Christian band that I'd ever heard that sounded like Slayer, was like playing at that pace and playing at that, that level of extremity and even like anger almost. And that was one of my favorite things about that first Living Sacrifice album, is that it sounds angry. Were you guys angry when you were recording that record?
A little bit here and there. And we did go see like Silence of the Lambs, and then wrote some of that stuff afterwards.
I mean, what were you guys, like 12? Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I said you guys were like, what, 12 when you guys recorded that?
Yeah. No, we what were we, 18? 17, 18? I think Jason was like 17.
The average age of the band was 17 years old. So, yeah, I mean, the cliche is like, oh, you guys sound like Slayer on your debut album. But, what other 17-year-olds were, making and got signed to a record label and putting out a record and going on tour back then? There weren't. Yeah. Believer wasn't going on tour. I mean, REX was like very happy the fact that we were a band that would actually go on tour, and we financed that ourselves, by the way.
Yeah, that's
right, Lance.
I've always felt, and I think it's because I got into your album before Slayer, because again, I was buying Christian cassettes and all that.
Same, actually. Yeah.
Vengeance was my gateway to extreme music. Human Sacrifice scared the living crap out of me when I first heard it. I actually had a mixtape. I think I've told this story on your show before, but I'll just say, had a mixtape that was given to me by a kid at youth group. Yeah. And the first song I heard was Beheaded. So you can imagine.
Yeah.
But hearing your debut at that age, I know it was ridiculous. But at the end, when he does the scream, I was just like, like, take this back. I don't want to hear this. I actually was afraid of it for like a while. And then I kind of got curious again. Almost like horror movies, you get curious, like, I want to see some more of that. So I was like, I started really getting into it. But when I got your album, at that point, I was just buying anything that looked anything like metal. It was like anything REX was going to put out. Believer and all that stuff. I did not even hear Slayer until after your album. I'd heard your album. So coming in from that side of it, I have always felt, and I'm not saying this to kiss your butts or anything, I have always felt it was heavier and faster and just more aggressive. Like, I grind my teeth more to that album than any Slayer album. Now, I love Rain and Blood. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love several of their albums, but I have never felt like, oh, I see, this is the more extreme version of Living Sacrifice. Like, it never felt like that for me. I've always thought your first album blew it away, honestly. I know that's sacrilegious to Slayer fans, and I'm sorry, but I mean...
And to me.
I know. You guys aren't agreeing.
No.
But that's just coming in as a Christian kid and hearing that, it just, I don't know, it just... I heard the more extreme stuff, I think, and then I went back and I've learned to appreciate that stuff. But I hear the comparisons to the Slayer stuff for sure. But I mean, and like you said, to have a chance to be a Christian kid and have lyrics that were for you, you know, and still have it be that ridiculously heavy. I mean, yeah, I wasn't complaining at all.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is a
Right on.
stereotype for sure, saying it sounds like Slayer. And I always, something I like to say on the podcast a lot is that there is a cosmetic similarity to Slayer, but it's not like you guys were playing Slayer songs and changing the lyrics, you know, like putting them in reverse, you know, or whatever.
I mean, we were pretty
Might have
young,
done that
like,
with
when
a couple
we
of
started.
riffs. I don't know.
Oh yeah, we definitely ripped off some for sure. But yeah, man, dude, we were like 16, like 15, 16, writing some of that, and we listened to so much Slayer, Anthrax, like Megadeth, like that's just kind of what came out. And you know, like I said, we were young, so we were trying to find our way in our own sound, and yeah, we definitely like ripped off a lot of bands, but not intentionally. Like after it's done, we're like, wow, yeah.
Well, I wasn't around
But-
back then. What was the reception like for you guys as far as like, because you did go on tour, you got out in front of the people, whereas I think like DJ was saying, there were a lot of bands in that scene that just didn't tour. They'd play shows or they'd go play Cornerstone and stuff, but you guys actually went out like in front of people and played the stuff. Like, what was the reception like as far as those first tours go?
DJ?
The first tour was mainly just kind of like church situations, and the second tour with Non-Existent was more of a club tour. We played a lot of clubs. We actually played the Stone in San Francisco, and we were able to get to a wider audience, and that made a difference. And that kind of like broke us into a kind of a scene, especially with Metal Maniacs printing, like us going on the road and our albums and stuff. We're getting like, you know, mainstream publications. So people knew our name. So by the Inhabit, we were actually able to go out on tour with Malevolent, and that made all the difference. It kind of like broke us as far as getting into where we wanted to be, you know. And Non-Existent gets a bad rap because we got right off the road of our debut album, and we were right into the studio. We only had like 6 songs, Lance?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe not even that. I don't remember.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and we went right into the studio, and we had to record them, and we wanted to go in another direction, which, you know, we did, but we didn't have time to flesh the songs out, you know, the way that they needed to be. And it wasn't until after we got off the road that they actually, you know, I love that album and I love those songs, you know, especially the way we played them live, you know.
Yeah, my buddy Terry Cox, he's like the only guy who has like the footage on YouTube. Like any good footage of you guys live, there's like Terry Cox's channel. So like this guy captured Non-Existent era at Cornerstone, and yeah, it's like a night and day, like from one album to the next. It's like it almost sounds like a totally different band. I mean, like the style of music was so much more progressive, and I literally, like, the drums are in my psyche. To this day, I will walk around and like death metal tap on my chest, like to like so many songs from those albums. It's just like I don't even think about it; it just comes out because I'm just so impulsive, and like the blast beats were just nuts back then. I never heard anything like it, you know.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I really wish we would have known about like click tracks or something, because like I look back and it is so hard for me to listen to like that album, because, you know, my drumming, thank you for compliment, man. I appreciate it. But I feel like it's all over the place. Like it just loses me. I feel so many mistakes. I'm just like, oh my gosh. You know, you played stuff, you're like, oh my gosh. And then, but maybe it's not as bad as you think it is. I don't know.
I really miss in metal production. I miss the I don't know what you call it, like ebb and flow of like a human performance.
Sure.
I don't think there's anything like there's nothing to me that's noticeably like, oh wait, that's not like perfect to a click track. It just sounds like a dude going ballistic with no tricks. Like, whereas now I feel like I really have a hard time listening to modern death metal because the production's so completely immaculately perfect.
Sure.
And it sort of lost some of the that sort of human sway that I like. And I don't mean like offbeat, but just it just sounds like some mics are on your drums. You know what I mean? I have always loved that more, despite its imperfections, or Yeah.
So, no, I do agree with you that I think some of it just really bothers me because man, there's some places it speeds up and slows down like way too much. It just gets on my nerves. I'm just like, oh my gosh. But we were rushed. I mean, like crazy to do that. I mean, it was just like, hey, get in there and do it with my cat. One of them. But
what do we have? 6 days, man.
Dude, I don't know.
We had like 6 days or
out,
whatever.
and they just kept.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and like sometimes we would do stuff, and it was like, hey man, we don't have time to try to do that again. You know, we're like, what? Really? Like, so we just had to settle. But at the same time, you know, back to when I'm carrying my lunchbox to my grandmother's, I'm like, I mean, this kind of sucks that we're getting, you know, rushed through this, and this is going to be like laid down forever. But a lot of people don't get this opportunity, so you just had to suck it up and just have fun. And I guess, from the back to the touring at the beginning, like it was weird because the clubs didn't want us. Most of the churches didn't want us. So we had to find places. We had to find places to play, and the churches, most of them did open their doors. Like you'd find one that they were like, yeah, man, we'll bring them because they cared about their youth.
Yeah,
and they wanted kids to come in that wouldn't normally come in or don't get to go to the clubs and see the Slayer and Metallica and stuff. So it did work out in our favor sometimes for that. And you know, I thank God for those churches and the club. Man, there's a lot of clubs that, you know, we would play at, and there'd be hundreds of kids that would show up, and they didn't care whether we were Christians or not or whatever. So I know we were accepted pretty good. I mean, sometimes, you know, some of these death metal festivals, like on that Malevolent, they say they want to kill us after the show, you know, not in Malevolent, but, you know, kids.
Yeah. Real tough guys that bought a record at the mall and think that they're Satanists. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. They like hold upside down crosses like the whole time we're playing. And so, yeah, that was fun.
Well, that kind of stuff had happened before with some other group. I remember hearing something about Tourniquet getting thrown off of a festival because Deicide was playing or something like that. So, I mean, that kind of stuff was happening. Like, it was offensive to be Christian metal. Or that whole time, some of those bands were saying, like, we're white metal instead of black metal. And, like, there was that whole just controversy of... But, I mean, Malevolent Creation... You're talking about Malevolent Creation, right?
Yeah.
I'm making sure I say that. They were pretty amazing too. I can't remember the album I had from there. It had that purple cover. Had that When Worlds Collide. Retribution. Yeah, I love that album.
Yeah, dude.
And
dude, Retribution.
That's
our jam,
good.
right, Lance?
Oh yeah. When you were touring with them. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying that is the reign and blood of death metal. Retribution
it's
album.
Pretty good.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Yeah.
That whole era is.
Anyway, sorry.
Well, I was just going to ask. I mean, with touring with them, I'm just kind of curious, just because of the just knowing some of the other members of that band, and like I know that Rob was in there from Cannibal Corpse. Did those guys respect you guys if you were on the road with them, or was there some weird thing where you were booked by labels or something and it was just like, we're stuck with this Christian band? What was that like?
Dude, they were like the coolest dudes ever.
Oh, good.
Like, had no problem with us. I mean, so as long as we could play our instruments, be on a good show, man, they could care less.
I feel like
we had a good time with those guys. Like, but the first show, I think I've told this story before, probably 100 times. But the first show, we went out and played, and there's a few people that didn't like us or want us there or whatever. But they kind of were trying to figure us out. They're like, okay, why would Malevolent have these guys on tour with them? Like, so we kind of got a little bit of respect just for that. So that, I mean,
Oh, cool.
and I don't think any of us met the guys until after they played the first show. Like, we actually, we watched them. We were in the pit the whole time, like at every show, like, and the first show, it was Jason. The bass player was doing vocals. It was on the, they had just put out Stillborn.
Yeah, I think that's it.
And yeah. And Jason was doing vocals, and man, he came out with this like devil mask, like and it was just like, it just covered like from his eyes up, so it was like his beard, and I mean he looked like the devil. And he came out, and we're like, okay. And he was like, how many of you guys like to play with knives? Like that. I think that's how they started out. Everybody's like, yeah. And they were like, yeah, I don't know how he worded it, but he was just like, how many of you like to kill Christians? And then everybody's like, yeah,
no.
Nervously looking around
thinking, like, yeah, we're thinking like, man, this is going to be a long tour, and then after they played, we just came up and introduced ourselves, and Jason came up to us. He was like, hey man, how do you like that part? I said, about killing Christians. Like, I was just joking. I was just messing with you guys or whatever. And we're like, okay, good.
That's
yeah,
good.
that was really funny.
They got to keep their rep on stage, But
yeah, dude, but he was totally joking, and
that's awesome.
Man, we had a great time with those guys, and they really liked us once we gave away our beer to them every night because we didn't drink it.
Right.
Yeah. We were good buds, and
best friends ever. Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a good introduction to them. But no, dude, they were really good guys, man. I wish we could have toured more with them. Yeah, and they were monsters, like on stage. It was a great tour.
So kind of going back to the non-existent stuff.
Is DJ going?
Yeah, he'll be back. He always comes back. Going back to the non-existent stuff. Wait,
let me prep it.
Okay, yeah. Steven's wearing a non-existent shirt. Everybody,
I keep doing that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I need to get one of those shirts.
I need to wait so that it fits me better because
you got to make it. You got to make it in fat guy sizes. No, what's interesting about that is my understanding is just listening to interviews and stuff like that from a fan perspective that had the studio that recorded that, or not the studio necessarily, but the engineer that engineered that record. Had he ever like released like a metal? Had he ever like done anything with a metal band before? And I already know what the answer is. Yeah, but
welcome back.
Never. Yeah, let DJ talk about that one. It was pretty bad.
Oh, we're talking about Mark or the engineer?
I mean, really.
Okay.
Yeah, it really was.
I jumped in here. I'm sorry, guys, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, he was put in a weird situation as well. That whole thing. Yeah, DJ can talk about that a little bit. There were a lot of stuff going on, I think, at REX, and we had no idea, and we were just kind of in the middle of it. But
it's we had just got off the road from doing like 30 days, and we had a month and a half, and they were like, hey, you're going to be in Nashville and record your next album. You guys write some songs, be there. And we had set up, actually I've been talking to Scott Burns about like going down to Morristown and had that all lined out, but they didn't want to hear that, but they made sure that we got up to Nashville because we couldn't play Cornerstone next year unless we had the album out, unless we recorded right then in September. So I dropped out of school. We went up there and we recorded Non-Existent, and the whole time it was not working out, was it, Lance?
No,
this guy was not able to get the sounds. Yeah. And so
okay.
when I did my vocals for Non-Existent, I did them in one night. Lance was there with me. I did it until 3:00 in the morning with this guy. I said, no, I'm not going to stop. I'm just going to scream this out all night long, and that's going to be it. And I was hoping beyond hope. It didn't happen, but I was hoping Doug would hear it and say, hey, we need to like redo some things, because this guy wasn't able to get the sounds. This guy couldn't even like create an echo on my voice. You know, if I said one word, he couldn't. It was like, delay, I don't know how to do that.
Oh, wow.
What? You're the engineer, you know?
So you were unhappy with the production of it, you're saying?
I thought it would get back to Doug. But little had I known at the time, Doug was already let go from REF. He couldn't talk to us about it. That's why he wasn't in the studio. And that's what frustrated us, to the point that Lance and I started messing with the board ourselves. Right, Lance?
Yeah, I don't think we helped very much.
Yeah, I think Bruce said something about that. I was going to ask you about that. I heard that you guys ended up having to finish a lot of it or something. So that's kind of what you're saying. You guys were just taking over.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah, dude. It was kind of ridiculous, man. It was, yeah, we were staying at Doug's house.
He didn't know how to do levels. We didn't know how to. I mean, that's why like it goes up and down, like the guitar solos and stuff. I mean, it's just.
Yeah, because there's guitar solos on there that like they're good solos, but then like they're so much louder than everything else that's going on. Like you'd have like a super like you'd have this like beautiful like evil sounding melodic piece going, and then you want to throw a solo down on there, but instead of mixing it down with into the actual track, it's like it sounds like you're listening to a CD and somebody walks up to you and starts playing guitar solo in your ear, in your left ear. You know what I mean? And you're totally taken out of it with it. And I think I know historically on my podcast we've been really harsh on that record. But I mean, it makes sense. Like that's like from what you guys are saying, it makes total sense why it sounds like that, because you basically had a guy in there that was just like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like I'm not really sure I get what you guys are doing, and I don't really understand like how it's supposed to sound. So I mean, with all of that in mind, it is pretty impressive that the record sounds as good as it does. I mean, because there's still stuff on that record that I'm still like totally into, but the vocal thing makes sense, and I'm sorry that all those years later you have to hear some punk like me on the internet be like, well, I don't know what they were doing with those vocals, because that makes sense. I've also done vocals for an entire record in like one day, and it's not beautiful. It's not fun. And my throat's hurting just thinking about it. Like it's just, it is an experience that you will never forget. And the result that you get from it is just not something that you want to remember.
No, dude, like it's funny how that record, like, dude, I mean, like you were talking about, like it sticks with some people, and they they can get past like sonically, like the drums or the guitar or whatever, they can, and they like the songs, and then we got ripped up and down a lot, on the other side of it. A lot of people like, dude, like how did you go from your first record, everything's clean and clear, and then you go to this and it just sounds like a trash can, it's falling down steps. I'm just like, dude, I don't even have time to tell you the whole story, but now we do.
There you go.
Well, in context though of what you're all saying about this, so you guys are like a bunch of kids who just got off of a crazy busy scheduled tour, had barely any songs written, wrote them fast, had that whole debacle with the studio. It's pretty great album considering all of that. Like if I had gone through something like that exactly in your situation, I know my album would not be as good as that album is. So I mean, looking at it from that angle, it's kind of impressive actually. Now Morrisound would have been an incredible, and for all the headache, it sounds like it probably should have just sent you down there and paid the bill. But
yes,
the question I have is,
I mean,
okay,
Scott Burns listed us as one of his top 10 albums of 91
really?
in Metal Maniacs.
High praise.
Our debut album. Yeah.
So he would have been into it, recording it. That's cool.
Oh, dude, he called my house. I had several messages that he would
that's
go
amazing.
to sleep, listen to this happen, and he would have been able to get our sound. Yeah.
Has there ever been a No, you're good. I would assume.
I fell out of my chair. I got like.
Yeah, I saw that on Instagram. I was going to ask how you were doing with that, but you kept saying these.
Yeah, he can't drum anymore.
He kept giving these cryptic answers about what happened, so I was like, I'm not going to push this.
Dude, I'm sorry.
He doesn't want to talk about it. It's cool.
No, dude. Like Arthur, basically, he's always.
There was a bear involved.
Yeah, dude, he's always starting stuff, and yeah, and I was texting with him. I said, "Hey, man, just start another bear story because there's another story to that like years ago." That
inside jokes on Instagram.
So I was just, dude, I was having like there were like family members and friends were texting me like, "Dude, did you really get chased by a bear?" And I was like, "Yes."
Oh my gosh, that's great.
That's the only story to tell.
No.
Yeah,
that's great.
But I was like, it sounds a lot better than falling backwards and like 4 feet and breaking your ankle. Yeah.
Wait, nowhere is sensational.
It was raining, Lance, so you slipped.
Yeah, it was raining a little bit. And there was a bear like somewhere in the state.
somewhere there's a bear nearby at any point, right?
Yeah.
Story.
Maybe two bears.
That's funny.
But no, dude. No bears. It was a joke. Dude, I totally interrupted you. I'm sorry. You were talking.
No, I was going to ask.
My chair.
Yeah, I was going to ask though, kind of in the just given your feelings on that album, in the world of reissues and vinyl pressings and stuff like that. And I know we're still waiting on the first one to come out, but have you ever considered getting the reels on that and like trying to remix it or anything like that? You're just doing anything to improve on some of the production that you don't like. Is that even possible?
Yes. I've got the 2-inch tape in the next room, actually.
Ooh.
And we can manipulate it and kind of remix it. That's what we're planning on doing. So,
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Dude, I would just
we
like
got all our masters. That's the one thing that our attorney that Lance will agree with is he took care of us as far as making sure we got our masters back. And we have all our masters from the first 3 albums. So.
That's great to hear.
So we can do whatever we want with them. So, yeah.
Dude, I would love to record some of those songs, if not all of them, just maybe here and there. Just, I don't know how that would sound, but at least I think they would sound better than, as far as like the mixing and all that. Yeah. I would like to just go in, to all of us and just do this record again.
Oh man, that would be
non-existent Redux.
It would be fun, but I'm not sure if that'll happen. But it would. I would like to.
It would be funny if you did, and then it comes out, and then you guys are like looking, and then just new podcast where we're sitting down reviewing it. I'm like, the original non-existent was a masterpiece, and they just completely destroyed it. Because that's what.
Please do that. If we put it out, just do it.
I'll do an April Fool's on it. Yeah, like. Because that's how music reviewers are, It's just like it doesn't matter what you do; it's always, it's never good enough, But no, I think that would be super cool. Yeah, it's
amazing. It's funny.
But some of the stuff that you were saying, DJ, about about him not being able to like do anything with your vocals, add any of the effects that you wanted, or any of that. I guess that would explain why whenever you guys went and did Inhabit, that there's all kinds of neat stuff kind of hidden in there vocally. Because there's a lot of cool like vocal effects or like where like they'll like pitch shift your voice the super deep, into that and like overlay it over your regular vocals and stuff. Was that all kind of like what you were always kind of wanting to do, is just add all of those cool elements in there? Yeah,
it's kind of moving in that direction. But the big difference was with Inhabit, we were with our friends and they knew how to actually capture the sound that we wanted, Inhabit was a lot more technical than non-existent. Wouldn't you say, Lance?
Dude, I'm sorry. I was not paying attention much. My phone's like trying to hook it up. Sorry.
No, dude, you're good. But the thing about, and Lance can concur or not about this, but with our first 3 albums, it was always just got to get it done, got to make this album, got to, get in the studio, got to, go on the road, got to, and we were self-financed at the time. We did it all ourselves,
Oh, wow.
And the label backed us. They put an ad every now and then in a magazine, basically. That's all we got out of them. We did we made our own charts. We did everything. But so when it came to Inhabit, it was like kind of a respite where we, with like Kurt and Joey, they were our friends. We had a little bit of time to write some songs. It wasn't long enough, but
Yeah, Inhabit's. I think Inhabit's my favorite of those first 3. I think the songwriting's just like it goes another step up from, obviously you're gradually getting more and more progressive, but I mean Travis, my cousin, he was in Alathian and they covered Breathing Murder. And I mean, I love that they covered that, because I remember Travis and I, like on Easter Sunday, like in his house, listening to the cassettes, and getting into hearing that song and just being like, oh my gosh, like just sounds insane. So yeah, I think Inhabit's definitely the most crazy one. I don't know. Is that I remember Bruce said he thought it was boring. And I remember I almost fell out of my chair when he said that. When it was on As the Story Grows, you could go back and listen. He said, "Don't you think those songs are boring?" And I was like, "What?" Like it's out of my. I'm a fan. I'm not that close to it like you guys, but yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get bored. I was working on that thing, man. That was hard to play. I cannot play that stuff now.
I'm tired. I'm tired just thinking about it. Like, yeah.
I got to see you live during that era. It was really cool. I saw the Cornerstone show, the Cornerstone 94. Yeah, it was like fresh off the heels of I was gonna say is fresh off the heels of was it like Jason like just got off his honeymoon or something, like he was rushing over to the player. Yeah. I remember hearing some story. Yeah, those were the days.
That actually, I had we recorded that album. Yeah, Jason and I both got married like not far from each other. So I was sorry, I'm thinking out loud. I'm trying to. We drove up there like it was in Pennsylvania. What was it?
It wasn't too far from
Lancaster or something.
Yeah, I'm in Lancaster. So I think it was
you are?
Yeah, I'm in Believer country.
Yeah.
We drove up on Christmas Day, Lance. We left Little Rock.
Man, that is crazy that you did on Christmas.
It was snowing and stuff up there.
We got into the blizzard.
Yeah, I heard that too. I remember that storm actually, that blizzard. I can remember that. I have VHS footage of shoveling that out at my house. So that's funny. It's funny to connect those dots, like when you say that winter. I can actually remember.
Yeah, dude. We've never seen people go to like pubs and stuff on a snowmobile. We're like,
oh yeah.
there's so much snow up here, dude.
Yeah,
like I'm not used to that. But dude, oh man, yeah. I wish we would have been able to
Joey walk down and get like a couple of pints and come back to the studio,
Yeah, dude. I remember Kurt and Joey and all of us, we went in there to get something to eat at a bar because it was the only thing that was open. It was like a bar and grill. And then we almost got in a fight, like a bar fight, because we had long hair.
Oh,
They're
no.
making fun of us. And
No, I had long hair. You had short hair. You were a skinhead.
Yeah, I was making fun of you.
It was me that like.
Wait a minute. I
look at
started
that
that
guy.
fight. Hold on. Yeah.
Yeah, no, who had long hair? Bruce and
DJ had long hair because when I met him at Cornerstone, he had it all pulled up in a beanie, and he looked like a skater.
Okay.
And I remember when I was trying to meet you guys at the festival, I couldn't find you because I didn't recognize you because you were walking around. You looked like a skater.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But I remember you pulled the beanie off when you went to play live, and it just like fell out. And I was like, "Oh my god, there he is! That's the hair I saw."
Yeah,
yeah. But yeah, I don't know why I had this.
I wish Kurt and Joey would have did.
I'm growing it back out.
Non-existent record.
What's that, Lance?
I said I wish that Kurt and Joey could have did the second record, the non-existent record. Like we had just a good time working with Kurt and on the first record, and then we did the second record. We just talked about that, and then we went back and were able to work with Kurt and Joey. So yeah, at least we got back around. I think it sounded a lot better for sure.
Yeah, and I mean that first studio that we were in for our first album, I mean Catamount, I mean that was like, I mean that's where what's his name from Slipknot did his first solo album.
Corey Taylor, yeah.
In Corey Taylor, yeah. He did it at Catamount. Yeah. I mean, that studio was awesome. And the engineers there were amazing, weren't they?
Yeah,
and,
dude.
I mean,
that place ruled.
Having going from that to like being in Nashville, and then you're stuck in this room with a guy that has no idea what he's doing, or even like the concept of heavy metal. We were playing Sepultura for him, and he was like, "What is this? I can't wrap my head around it, and I don't know how to get these sounds, or and I mean it was frustrating when it was. I mean,
yeah, it was. So we would just after the studio day, we would go back and we would play racquetball. We didn't know how to play racquetball. We were just throwing balls at each other, like and breaking things and stuff. That was fun. We still had fun. We made it fun.
Yeah.
It's just not a good environment to make music in when the guy who's sitting there recording you has no interest in what you're doing or having any sort of what's the word? Investment in any of it.
Ability.
Yeah. But I mean, especially something so contrasted from an Amy Grant coffee guy or whatever, to a death metal album. Like, I just knowing me, I would be in the studio, like playing and just feeling the entire time, like this guy does not care at all. And that would contribute probably some negative energy, I would think, to how that's made. Yeah. But again, it's a great album.
Thanks.
It's also my favorite album cover of yours. I have to say, it's just really cool looking. If you ever do it on vinyl, I hope you can pull that.
I like it.
Art up real big.
Well, that artwork, I think, weren't there like, and I may have just, this thought may have just jumped into my head recently, but like, weren't people like kind of upset, like in the Christian music industry, which probably was selling most of your stuff at that time? They were like pretty upset at the artwork in on Non-Existent with the skulls and like
dark looking for sure.
Oh yeah,
yeah. They didn't like that one.
We went out to our first time out to California. We made it all the way to San Francisco and the Stone, and we'd have people all along the way. These church moms come up to us and explain this album cover. Why are there skulls? And remember Truby's old saying was like, I'm gonna rip the off their face if you ask for it.
Oh yeah. It was that. Who was it? Was it you or was it?
Yeah, we got hassled about that.
You And you're like, yeah. There was a mom just going off on us, like, and we were being really nice. And finally, someone said, "It's just a skull, lady. I have one. You have one. We all have them."
That's awesome.
And then she just grabbed her son and left. She was so mad.
That's great.
Goodness.
But yeah, we just kind of had enough. Like, 'cause, yeah. Anyway.
It's like, what's the problem?
Not sure if she would receive that as the biological explanation would be enough for her. But yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's what
I know. My mom and dad. Yeah. And we would go on and on about how all your kind of music was Christian, and our parents just never could understand it. I remember my dad walking in the room and just hearing those things and shaking his head and walking away in disgust. But then when we started listening to things like Cannibal Corpse, I remember I left a cassette tape for Tomb of the Mutilated.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And my aunt's, Travis's mom, her tape deck, and she found it when I wasn't there, and she pulled it out and she said, Travis, I know you guys keep telling me that these bands are all Christian bands, but she starts naming some of the song titles, entrails ripped from a, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And he's just like, it's Stevens, just walks away. And, yeah.
Deflection.
We blew it.
Oh, wow.
Breathing Murder.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
Breathing Murder
title.
But yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, Lance and I didn't come from that background. So it was like we're doing a positive thing. We're trying to, write these songs and it was a positive endeavor, and we're getting backlash for for something that's actually, if you dive into it, it's very positive and uplifting. But, no one gave us, it was kind of a fight against both sides. It's how I felt. What'd you feel, Lance?
Yeah. Like you said earlier, like the church didn't want us, and the world didn't want us either. So we just kind of had to keep pressing and just do what we love doing, and it worked out.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that, though, DJ, about coming from not being Christians and having secular music as an influence earlier, and then wanting to kind of do something positive. So from your side of it, it's like you're doing all this aggressive music, but you're doing it moving into a positive. Whereas maybe we as Christian kids hearing Petra and all that, hear that, and we kind of hear it the other way. Not that we think you're being dark, but that we, are relieved to hear something more dark and edgy than what we're used to. And so the moms and dads are like, why are these people doing this dark stuff? Like they don't see it from the side where you're coming from, from the secular influences on, and then saying, well, we can do something with the gospel with this real intense music. So I never really even thought about it that way, that you guys would be seeing it in your own minds as like, we're actually doing a real positive thing here. But I mean, we were, I was blessed to have extreme music that I could feel comfortable as a Christian. Because I mean, at the time when I was young, I was convicted about listening to certain things. It didn't always last, but certainly in those earlier days of listening to metal, I was still a little concerned about, making sure that I was listening to Christian music and, doing the right thing. And also it was such a relief to have extreme music, and then have things like Tooth and Nail Records come out when you start getting in more of the punk stuff, and to sort of have your own kind of ownership over some of those bands was a real blessing for us youth group kids, So, but
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if this is
a different
go ahead.
like when it lands. No, it was like I said, it was a different time back then. Like it was like you couldn't listen to, when we came into this scene or whatever, you couldn't listen to any secular stuff. Lance and I would like, okay, we're going to listen to like, an album, but we're just going to listen to it just for influence. We're not going to listen to it to enjoy it, or we're listening to Slayer for a little bit, but we can't listen to it all the time. Or Anthrax, whatever. Pray before we listen. Stuff like that. would happen. And that's our mentality at the time. But, you know,
I don't know. Like DJ was saying earlier, like, you know, we didn't grow up in Christian environment and all that. So like we still loved, you know, powerful, aggressive music when we became Christians, but we didn't really think twice about like changing the music we loved to suit the church or I mean, we just kind of looked at it. I don't know, like, you know, like some of my favorite movies, like 300 and Gladiator and Braveheart, whatever. Those are some pretty tough, violent dudes, but they're good guys.
Right.
You know, I mean, so that's kind of
same concept.
That's kind of how I looked at it. Like back then, I'm just like, okay, we're gonna be the good guys this time around, but like we're definitely not pushovers, and we're gonna get in your face with this. So
yeah,
I don't know. That's just kind of how.
No, that's super cool. That's I've never heard it explained like that, but I kind of like that whole idea of like, yeah, like we're the good guys here, but we're also like super tough dudes. You know what I mean? Like, not that you guys are saying you guys are super tough dudes, but you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, no, that makes tons of sense.
We weren't that tough. But yeah, dude. I always loved like those are like my favorite movies, but then those are the good guys. But
yeah. See, the plot was lost on me as a kid because, you know, what I wasn't understanding was, you know, it was okay to play real heavy and experimental music and all that stuff and not lose yourself in a lyrical or emotional sense. And I think also it was important. I look back on that whole time with all the bands touring and the Cornerstone Festival and all that stuff. And I just think about like when, like I was in Tantrum with the Muse and we would tour around and we were so unchurched and had no.
Oh, dude, you were in that band.
Yeah,
he was that band.
Yes.
Yeah, you were that land.
Wait. Yes. Well, okay. Sorry.
I know we were notoriously like bad attitude, kind of bad reputation with people, but it was just kind of what I'm getting at.
That's why we liked you.
I'm relieved to hear that. But you know, like looking back on it now, like, you know, being 20 some years removed from it, but like, you know, like we didn't get that, like you didn't have to lose yourself in the aggression and the, you know, like we felt so, it felt so important for us to be more, I don't know, like condemning of the church and things like that, sort of our anger for things that I look back on now a little bit regretful. And so when I hear you guys talking the way you are, I'm like, yeah, I kind of wish we had caught on to that it was okay to be angry and aggressive without it being lyrically like you're trying to come down on things that you really don't understand because you're not even like, we weren't even plugged into church by that point. We were just traveling around doing music and just saying we were Christians and wanted to do positive, but we were really just picking up from listening to other bands and that we were just sort of like, that's what you're supposed to do because you're Christian kids, but there was nothing really, I mean, we were being genuine, I guess, but it was just, you know what I mean? It was, you kind of like regret some of the behavior of that early, and I miss sort of the zeal of some of the earlier Christian bands and the lyrics and sort of just having a genuine, like they're still doing the gospel thing, you know, and they didn't like give up on it. I feel like a lot of bands from that era just sort of gave up and it just sort of feels kind of empty to me, but yeah.
I agree.
I hate that, you know, I mean, we were true with our beliefs and I mean, you know, we went out there. I mean, the first night that we were on tour with Malevolent, Bruce and I went down to the basement and met the manager of the club, and they were getting handed bags of Coke and a little bit of money as the payment for the night, and kind of stumbled upon that and kind of looked at us like, oh, you know, these Christian kids are. You know, see us getting Coke, or Bruce and I were like, we don't care. Just give us our money for the night and be on our way to the next show.
Just cash, please.
And that next show was the one that they were like,
was good.
Hey, these boys they're with us, So
Wow.
yeah, I mean,
Man,
it didn't.
Well, and I guess that's kind of my.
You don't remember.
Yeah, I don't even know what I would do if I saw that. Honestly, that's like in all of our experiences, I've never once seen gigs with coke getting pulled out and all that. So, and you guys were what, like 18, 19 at the time? So
early 20s.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, probably like 20, 22. Yeah.
And that's the same tour where we were with Crowbar guys, and
oh wow,
we went to Jeffrey Thomas' apartment. Lance, remember?
Whose apartment? Whose apartment was it?
Dollars.
Dude,
We're
no,
staying in the Ambassador Hotel.
Dude, there was what's the name of the promoter was in Wisconsin, Milwaukee, where we played, and we stayed in a hotel, like an old hotel, and got some sleep. And was that it? It was. Dude, supposedly it was wherever, like, I think it was like one of the rooms that Dahmer might have killed one of his victims.
Oh man!
At some point, because I guess it was the promoter. Was it the next day? He was like, "Hey guys, how'd you sleep?"
Yeah, it put us in that room on purpose.
Oh no!
We slept okay. He's like, nothing. I mean, nothing. You slept good. We're like, yeah. And then I guess it was supposed to be haunted or something, because man.
That's so funny.
I don't know if that was true, but I think it was.
Oh,
but it's still a cool story, whether it's not.
That's insane.
Especially when they tell you after.
Yeah, it was kind of creepy afterwards. We're like, oh, dude, I just feel weird now. Like, I slept good.
That's funny.
The covers never like got yanked down halfway while you were sleeping, or
no, dude, no. I'm gonna be holding on to my cover all night now.
And we've got a live acoustic performance by Lance right now.
I'm trying to remember some of these non-existent songs.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't remember them.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was trying to remember some of this stuff.
That's awesome.
And Jason would come out with all these chords, like, and you'd have to like put your fingers like, I can't do it.
He's an incredible guitarist. Yeah, I saw him doing like,
yeah, dude, what was it?
Some stuff with Phil Kagi or something. I thought that was pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really into Phil Kagi.
Yeah, it always sounded super dark, all that melodic stuff. Like, it was always like creepy almost in a way, but it also like very hopeful too, like that was it's exactly what DJ said earlier about how, like, yeah, it was dark music, it was heavy music, but it was also very like, you kind of get a feeling of hope, from listening to it. And I think that's one of the biggest things that defines Living Sacrifice as a band. Not that you guys are known for being a melodic band, necessarily, but like just kind of that sort of uplifting, hopeful feeling. And I think that's even still true today. Like, I think even on the latest releases, you still kind of get that. You still end up getting that same feeling, that same vibe. I think that's really cool. And I don't even know if necessarily it was a intentional choice of being like, yeah, we have to include this specific element in order for it to sound hopeful or whatever, because that's really intangible. But for whatever reason, every single record has that to a certain degree.
Do you?
Thanks, man.
I've noticed just some of the more recent footage. Well, maybe not very recent with COVID, but pre-COVID, where you've shown up and did some vocals live and stuff like that. And I've always wanted to ask you, is that just I'm hanging out with the guys and I just felt like coming up, or is there any plans to include you more in actual recordings in the future?
There better be.
Yeah. Good answer.
He's like, actually, it's a hostile takeover. He's just going to come in and just take the mic.
Dude.
Yeah.
Like, I know Bruce is doing vocals and stuff, but I didn't know if that was just sort of like a, we're, so far into this game now, like, why not just have fun and do this, but
yeah, dude,
that's just something I'm wondering.
We're definitely going to do something.
It would be interesting after all these years.
No, we've all been. No, I'm just saying we've been in this forever and grown up together, and that's where we are. Is like, why not? Why not do this? Like, just have fun with it. So, yeah, dude. I talked to DJ
Plus your drum sets down in
4 times a week, and I said, yeah.
That's great. That's cool. You guys are all still friends after so long. Just with having done so many albums since the departure when DJ left. So I didn't know if. I mean, it's cool to hear that even though you guys didn't work together with all those Living Sacrifice albums, that you were still good friends. Can't say that for.
Oh yeah, dude, that's.
We've never not had that connection and not been brothers and not. I've never wanted anything else but success for the band when I wasn't in the band. When I'm on stage with the band, I want them to hit hard. And I mean, we've never there's never been love lost between us. Band members, we've always been together, as brothers. And that's the thing I see these other bands bite back and forth to each other and kind of snip and, they won't say their names in certain interviews and shit like that. It's
know all about that. Yep.
I mean, Lance and I the day that happens, it's not going to happen.
Right.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude, man. Like I said, we have too much invested. Like I said, first, second grade. Too many good times just to throw that all away because I'm mad about some stupid thing.
Totally.
So
as far as kind of going forward, you guys announced that you're putting out the self-titled. I know a lot of people have it pre-ordered. And then, of course, the whole we had the apocalypse, basically the last year or so, which kind of poo-pooed that a little bit. I know the record is supposed it's still coming. I know that much. But you guys also had a documentary that you were about to put out too before kind of all that stuff went down. Is there still plans to release that or?
Yeah, man. I'm not sure exactly what the plans are for the documentary. I mean, we're hoping we could still do something in the future. And yeah, man, this just came in and wiped us out. We finally everything was just falling into place. Everybody was involved. Past members that we were going to do the show. The Blamed they were going to come play, Jim from the Crucified and Brian, all those guys, and then and then it just we're
gonna have Mark from Embodiment coming,
dude. I mean, it was just we got our legs swept in more ways than one, that's for sure. But hopefully we'll still get to do some of this stuff in the future. Maybe it'll be like this, I know a lot of bands are doing that, so. And that was one of the things that we were going to record something. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I don't even know.
Come on.
You've been given permission.
We were going to do something, and guess what? I got I tested positive for COVID-19, so I had to. I mean, we just had to throw that.
Throw that away.
That went down to Muse as well, and and then we're we're just gonna reschedule it. Then I broke my leg.
Right.
For when we were gonna reschedule it, and I was just God, are you trying to
bam?
I but I don't know. I don't get that feeling that God's trying to hinder it because I don't think so.
Yeah, the one thing,
I think things just happen.
Yeah, it's a universal issue for sure, and we had the same kind of luck like that too, where it's we had got we between the first we do this band Unteachers now. Between the first Unteachers album, which was 5, I don't even know how many years, not 2014, to now, it was just us becoming dads. and kind of getting settled with all that. And then we kind of got back to like swinging through some songs and got in the studio to record. And then that's when things started happening with COVID. And now the guys recording us, he just got it. So it's like, and he got it actually kind of bad. Like I had it and I had it like cold symptoms. And I was like, if you would have told me it's just a head cold, I would have believed you. I didn't think it was anything. But my friend Tony, who's recording us, he went down pretty hard for a little while. Not respirator stuff, but just sort of like really sick. And so now we're just like waiting and waiting, and the one nice thing is it did help us. And I was going to say this about I was going to ask about you guys but one nice thing about this huge chunk where everybody had to stay home, and we were able to actually focus on writing more and get more of that just that like laundry list of like demos that were like half done, sort of just focus and start to rehearse them together, and it's been kind of helpful in some way. So I don't know, is that something you guys ever started to do with all this demos and writing?
Well, we haven't written too much, but it is kind of bringing us together, and with DJ and gonna do something, and it hit a little hard, like for me, because I can play drums at all. I've been playing guitar a little bit, writing some stuff here and there, but hopefully, we haven't been that productive, mainly probably because of me. I just got put out of commission, like with my leg and with getting, COVID, whatever. But we're hopefully going to pick back up on that. We have some stuff written already and recorded, like a few things, but it's not finished. So
it's not real till it's out. Yep.
Yeah.
I know that feeling.
No.
Yeah, I had 2 back surgeries too this past year. They were only about 2-3 months apart.
No, dude.
Yeah, and actually it was December and January is when of last year. And the week I was out for 5 months, and the week that I had to go back to work, I ran out of FMLA and all that stuff, and I was like, I've got to go back to work. Was the same week our governor shut down everybody for COVID, and I have a facilities manager, so I had to go to work. So I'm out like right when everyone thought we were all going to die, and I'm like 5 months. I was at home. I could have just sat here and avoided this, and yeah, it's just been a horrible nightmare that just doesn't seem to end. But yeah,
wow,
yeah, I
kind of missed like what was going on.
Yeah, dude,
pre-back and pre-COVID for sure.
Me too, dude. Yeah, that's more than I've been through for sure.
Yeah, and if it's any encouragement to you, at all, it'll heal and you'll get stronger again. Because my back, I there were days where I thought, there's no way I'm ever gonna do what I was doing before. I would lay there and be scared to death to just turn, and like. I was so tight. The muscles were so tight. I thought there's never, ever going to be normalcy again. You just can't see it. You just feel like it's never going to happen. And then, things heal and you slowly build it back up. And, I'm pretty much back to normal for the most part. I guess nothing ever heals 100% the same, but it,
I wouldn't say normal would be the word, but yeah.
Yeah. But, you can get strength again and get back to where you were. So, you'll be blast beaten in no time.
You just do what the kids do. Just do it all on the computer.
I hope so.
Yeah, hopefully anyway.
Yes, we can do that.
Yeah, just
I'll just
lay it all down and just hit the space bar, record.
No cheating, Lance.
Yeah, or I can just get Rocky to play it, because he can play all that stuff anyway.
There you go.
I gotta brag on Rocky. That dude can play anything.
Dude,
yeah,
he makes me so mad. Like, he won't play drums for like months and months, and I'm like, I just can't get something, and he'll just get behind the kit and just do it. And I'm just like, really, dude?
Well, that's why he's everybody's go-to guy, man, for anything.
Yeah, dude. I know, dude. I love that dude. is, he's so talented.
How many
so
albums
humble at the
did you
same
play
time.
on, Lance?
Oh, you probably can't count them.
There's too many.
Yeah.
I mean, I can just see
albums was played on.
I can think of at least 20 that I have sitting on my
Dude, I
shelf
have
right
no
now.
idea.
Yeah, he was the Evanescence stuff, right? Am I getting that wrong?
He was in Evanescence for a while. Then there's all the Soul Embrace stuff, and that's all just the stuff that he was like in and not just like getting hired to do, you know? Like if somebody needed somebody to come in and play something, they'd call him up, and you know what I mean? Like, that's how you do it.
That's awesome.
I'm thinking about paying them to do my parts.
There you go. Pay him a little bit more, and then just so you can say that you did them.
Play Second Death, and you won't play it. So.
No.
Say hi to Travis for me.
I will, absolutely.
I will too.
You all know who he is. And he's my cousin, but he has the Story Girls guy. There's so many others. That's such a weird. I kind of miss doing the podcast thing, but I get to like sneak on this show once in a while, so that's nice.
Every now and again, I let him out of his cage and let him come on and say a couple of words, and then back into the cage.
Right
you know.
Yeah.
So, but guys, thanks so much for taking the time out to talk tonight.
I miss you in your voice. So.
Hey, thanks. Yours too. Sounds like I might hear it though.
Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, I appreciate it, guys, taking the time out this evening. I know everybody's busy, so yeah, man, this was super cool. And one of the things I throw out to everybody, you know, is that we do that other show, Discography Discussion, where we like to invite people on to talk about bands that they like. So if you can imagine, we would sit down and pick a band and talk about all their records. So if that sounds like something either one of you guys wants to do, just hit me up. Or I'll hit you guys up and be like, I'll throw out 5 bands. What do you think? You know?
Cool.
Lance is thinking already.
Yep. See the wheels turning.
Yeah, it's been a real good time getting to talk to you guys again after so long. With Lance, I mean, I highly doubt you would ever remember hanging out in the shows and stuff, but we did get some gigs with you in the back in the day, and it was kind of, we haven't seen any of the old groups from that period. I keep referring to it as the Cornerstone era, but just all that hanging out at the festivals. Yeah. It's been such a long time, and I miss a lot of it. So it's cool to.
It was, man. That was a good time.
It really was, yeah. So it's cool to get to these little times to get to catch up. So
yeah, dude.
Thanks for letting me see
you again.
Yeah, likewise.
Absolutely. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much, and we'll stay in touch, and I'll let you know whenever this ends up posting. I'll have to go in and hack at it and do all the editing stuff and make us all sound amazing. I'm just kidding. I won't be doing any of that. I'll have Joe do all that stuff. Yeah, we're gonna cut DJ completely out of it, and yeah, it'll be perfect.
Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you pick up a copy of Non-Existent. That's perfect timing.
I have multiple copies, so hit me up. Awesome.
Non-Existent.
Hey, that's a good-looking T-shirt.
It is. I was shocked to find it.
One of those.
Do you have any Inhabit shirts laying around?
I do. I keep everything, man.
Dude, you probably do.
Yes.
Well, that was my conversation with DJ Sacrifice and Lance Sacrifice, both from Living Sacrifice. Steven Sarro was cool enough to come by and co-host that chat with me. So much fun. Thank you so much to Steven for coming by and having that chat with me. Guys, this was a bucket list interview. I've been trying to get DJ on the podcast for somewhere close to 3 years now. And not only did he come on the podcast, but he brought a friend. And so I also brought a friend. So there's lots of friendliness. And what I liked the most about this chat really was just that, like, we focused on old school Living Sacrifice, which I think is underreported on these days. So in the spirit of that, I hope you guys really enjoyed it. We've got more awesome Discuss Metal stuff in the works for 2021, so stay tuned. As always, you can follow us on Twitter at Discuss Metal. You can follow us on Instagram at Discuss Metal. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/discography discussion. You can find us on YouTube If you search for Discuss Metal Dan, when we will have a link to that channel in the show notes, make sure you're following us on YouTube to get access to live streamed events. You can watch some of the Discuss Metal interviews we do, episodes of discography discussion. It's all there. And speaking of all there, if you want to get some sweet discography discussion merch, you can go to our Teespring store. There'll be a link in the show notes that'll take you right there. Join us on Discord. There'll also be a link in the show notes that'll take you to our Discord server. This is one of the most fun years I've had so far doing the podcast, and I cannot wait for you guys to see what else we have in store. Until next time, keep it metal.